fresh meat.
I'm Gimli. Let's break Diablo 2 down to the pixel. In this video I want to show you the tool TileMaker and as well as how the new created tiles work in the editor, and I also show you another way with JavaScript DT1 to create new tile sets, in this case a floor tile. Let's check it out. So at first we are starting with TileMaker version 2.5. You can download it from the link in the description below. And in here there's a batch command, a running tool like mostly others as well. And we already have a crypt image here as a sample, so you can start with that and get a feeling how the tool is working. And also there's a batch file in here which contains just the information about what does this tool do. And so we're starting with crypt pcx as image, and then there's some running code in here, and if you check out the readme you get an explanation how to do this. So it's mainly the index and act and what floor tile, so just make sure you read this separately. Alright, so we just run this, and what we are getting now are a ds1 and a dt1 file. And the DT1 contains the graphical assets, and the DS1 is the map file which represents all the graphics in the right direction combined. And then you have a text file which just marks what everything is going on in here. And for purposes, we can now copy these two files in our DS1 edit and just make a new folder called crypt, for example. And then we need to edit our map list because we need a starting point for the map if you want to edit them. So I just copy paste this one and I call it crypt.ds1. It's just a starting point. So when we put up the loader, we can already put in the ds1 file in here, and then we need to make sure that we forcing to load this graphics as well. So that's the file, yes, and then we can run it, and now we see the map editor, and we're having a map size of 20 by 20, so that's the farthest bottom one. And then you can see, okay, we're having all the graphics from the example in here as map, and we're having the titles we can work with. And yeah, it's just mainly only floors in here, so if you run this in game you can you can walk over everything. So that's the next step, that you need to set up your ini file, which graphic titles you can walk and what is blocking the site, etc, etc. So this is more work in progress in here, or you can see there's also some graphics in here that we don't need, so we can delete them. And how the graphic titles are now looking, so when you want to make a new one and you right click, you can see there's no walls in here. So if you have walls in your graphic, make sure you need to separate them and create it as extra walls from the graphics. So that's up on your editing skills for the graphics, but usually all is just a floor. And like you can see, the index starting with 50, that was from the tool itself, and then it got split up to everything in this kind of graphics, but you can choose one to place it there, and that to getting at least this kind of map again. You can also copy paste this and use it for your mapping purposes, etc, etc. But this is just to showcase how you can create new graphics for and use it in game later on. Alright, so if you want to check out the graphics, what they are looking like, we can use the old tool dt1 file, for example, and we can just extract the graphic. And we're having the floor static in here, and now you can see what this is looking like in the graphics. So you get an idea on how the tool is creating these images for using in-game. Like I said, that's only floor tiles in here, no walls, because they could be bigger in height, etc. So if you want to create new stuff, make sure you split them up between walls and tiles for the floor in here as well. And also prepare your ini file that currently everything is walkable. You need to edit this, of course, as well. Alright, speaking of that, how you can create new graphic tiles as well, you can use Erlend's JS DT1. And for the example, I just snip in here some random clouds. And just save it, and let's put it in here. Call it clouds. And then we can fire up our photo editing tool of choice. And now we see, okay, this is an image. So when we're gonna use it for floor, we should make sure it's the same size. So we're going for 109 by 109. And in here, we just copy paste it in a new one. So now I have the correct size of the image, and we need to transfer this into an isometric view. Therefore, I've made an image for explanation. So you're starting with the left side. That's usually your starting image you're going with, and I've marked all sides for better understanding. And what you're going to do is you take this and rotate it clockwise by 45 degrees. And after that, you scale the height of it by 50% by keeping the width. So that's kind of the look we want to get into our 2.5D transformation later on to use it in game. Okay, so you can do this in here. Like for example, I go to edit and to select it, edit, transform, rotate, and I can select 45 degrees. And then I can edit, transform, scale, and make sure the height to width is not locked, and we can set the height to 50. So this is the end result, and I just copy and put it on a new file in here. And then what we're gonna need is our background color, which is gray. So you can choose it by 616161, and then just fill it completely. And then we having our graphic already prepared to use, and now we need to resize it. So we go to image, resize, because floor tiles usually 160 by 80 in size. So make sure you having this correct value, and you can see maybe a little bit something is messed up with the background color. No problem, we can edit this as well again. And now we can see that we're having this image already in the correct size. And now we need to apply the Act 0 color palette. So we will choose this again and load it in. Like I said, the first color is the background color, and we skip all the other acts. And when we apply this, you can already clearly see that this is reduced in colors, but for demonstration it works fine. And now we save this image as PNG, for example, because JSDT1 using PNG files, so we can use that and make sure the size is already in the correct one. And now we save it in our, let's say, TileMaker clouds isometric. And then we can go into our JavaScript DT1, which you need to run on your local browser. Check out the README how to do that. So yeah, it's fired up. And I want to create a new one. So I'm creating an empty block, and you can see the ini file is pretty empty in here. I already know that's floor static. It's a floor, a main index. I want to put in 55, for example, in here. And the sound to walk over should be, yeah, let's call it snow. And we can see also some flags in here, but we added them in the floor static in here. So we're having an empty image, so there's nothing in here, but the first block is already set up. You can add more blocks by using this button, but we don't need, since we only have one image, and then we can import images. And in this case, we import the new isometric PNG file. And if you hit apply all, you can see that it's moved to the left side in here, and now we have it in this first block. And with this little button we can specify the title a little bit more. So for example, we can block walk or jump or lightning or whatever, and so we can select them and mark them in here, just for example. And then when we go back to the ini file, you can see everything is updated. So we're getting this 4 blocks of the map having other flags. And so this is how you work with. And to make this ready for use, we need to save this PNG file. So that we'll be using in DT1 tools, obviously. And we call it clouds. -fs means floor static, and then we have the ini file, and we can also save the ini file in here as well and also call it clouds. And this is how you work with the JSDT1 edit. So we can just close it. And in DT1 tools, we having now our clouds in here, and the clouds graphic file is in PNG, so that's the wrong format, but it doesn't matter because we can just open it in here and then going back to the indexed color as well. Can select previous because we had it already, and then save as PSX file because we need PCX file. All right. And now we can create these new graphics. So when you check out the ini, there's the first block with all the informations in here, and the main index, it's always in hex color, hex code. So 55 is 37, and we have the graphic in here, which is 1. So we can just drag this over our make, and we're having this new clouds file in here. And we just can copy this over into our map editor. And in this case, we need to fire up our Windiest one again, put in the crypts we had already in here. And for the parameters, we need to again force our graphic files. And when we run this map now, you can see we still have this map, or you use a regular map, whatever you prefer. And then you can select right click floors, and then you can see, okay, index 55. We're having now from this clouds file this graphic, and you can put it in here and then copy paste and use whatever you need to. So that's the point how you're gonna use it. If you wanna use a floor title, make sure it's kind of repetitive or self-repeating pattern. Otherwise it looks kind of weird in the later game. So, but this is how you can add some new graphics into the game.